It's become a big part of society as we know it. I don't think there's anybody out there who hasn't heard of Facebook or Twitter. I'm not looking to make a sale online. I was just looking to become a reliable resource for information. My store is called Pace Pharmacy, otherwise known as Pace Pharmacy and Compounding Experts, and it's a relatively new store, opened at the end of July 2010, and it's a small independent store with a compounding lab, and that is our primary focus. Because of our location, there are quite a number of HIV affected people in this area, so some of our clientele do have higher needs because of their because they are HIV positive. I had a consultant advise me about, I guess, the proper ways to use social media, and there are unwritten rules about how you tweet. Everyone's trying to sell something. So if you want to use Twitter as a way to interact with your customers, give them something that they want, and obviously there's always deals being thrown around on Twitter, but information is key. People will seek you out if you're saying something of interest to them. People usually, I assume many people will glance at your most recent tweets before they follow you, not just because of your description and your profile, but they'll look at what you're saying, and if they find it interesting or something they want to see more of, then they'll follow you.
It's very easy, with social media just to be constantly pushing content out there. And that can create value, but the real value is going to be created through the conversations and through interacting with people. So you'll find that, people are going to, you'll push content out there. You might use a hashtag, which is a searchable term, for example, on Twitter, and you'll find that somebody's now following you or responding to you based on the use of that hashtag. And this is not somebody that you would normally maybe have any way of knowing. They could be halfway around the world, but it's using those opportunities to engage with those people and engage in a dialogue and reply to them and allow that conversation to continue. That's really where you'll find a lot of value.
I would definitely say it just creates another avenue in which a relationship can be formed between myself or the pharmacy and customers and even doctors. There's a lot of doctors out there who are using Twitter. It is a commitment. It's not something that you can do one day, sign on, tweet a couple times, and let it ride. People on Twitter have short attention spans. That's part of the beauty of it. 140 characters or less kind of speaks for itself. It's very small amount of information, condensed, and that, and it's moving very rapidly, the speed at which people tweet. So if you let it lie even for a month, you're going to, people will notice that. It's also a matter of timing. Someone who's looking on Twitter at a certain time of day, if you don't tweet within that window, you are likely to miss the opportunity to have them see your tweet, and that's just the nature of Twitter. It moves quickly, and that's why I say do it regularly, do it often.
Twitter search is fantastic. So if there's something that you're really curious about, what's the conversation that's going on right now, to go back to vitamin D, let's say, just for an example, what's the conversation that's going on around vitamin D? Use that search function to see what are people talking about, what are the hashtags that they're using that may be representative of that. Maybe there's a conference that's going on halfway around the world, and you can participate in the conversation that's happening at that conference, even though you're not an attendee, but because people are using Twitter to talk about whatever the issues that are being discussed. It's really important to recognize that basically anything you put out there, once it's out there, it's out there. So, for example, people often get caught in a situation, let's say, where somebody is being argumentative with them, or they're just trying to get a rise out of them, or they've said something that they don't agree with, and they'll engage in this conversation or this dialogue that is maybe a conversation you wouldn't want to have out in public and have everybody hear and have it represent as part of your brand and who you are. So I think that's really, it's really, really important to know when that can happen and how to deal with it and what the challenges around that. You know, for example, that's a great time to get on email with somebody and just take that conversation one-to-one, or to use the Twitter example, to start direct messaging and not publicly, you know, replying to each other, because people can see that, and you have to make sure that whatever you're pushing out there, 5-10 years down the road, it's just going to be easier to come back and see it. So you want to make sure that you know, you're not making those mistakes. You're not saying things that you wouldn't want to come back to you, you know, down the road.